Yours truly, Brevin Thompson, here to talk about Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. This video, as well as my other Terminator reviews leading up to Terminator Dark Fate, I'll be doing these every Tuesday with Cody Leach, Sean Chandler on Sean Chandler Talks About, and Durbin from Durbiana. So yeah, I'm really excited to do this, and I've already gone over the first two movies on my channel earlier last year. So yeah, I'm really excited to do this. So let's go through this. So I remember liking this movie a lot as a kid because I would watch it countless times on DVD, and I watched them with my dad, and even though I liked it, ever since I was a kid, I liked Terminator 2 a whole lot more than Terminator 3. And when I watch it now as an adult, I'd say that Terminator 3 is definitely not an improvement over T2. So, positives aside first, even though Arnie is here for the paycheck, his performance at times is a bit corny, but he's still the Terminator. And we all know this since 1984. He was born to play this role. While the CGI is good at times, I think they over-rely on it a bit too much, unlike what they'd done in Terminator 2 with the T-1000. And there's barely any use of animatronic work or anything like that. Because the first two movies, when it comes to animatronics, they were perfect. What Stan Winston done with the first two movies, his work is pitch perfect. And there's barely use of animatronics in this movie. The T1, they're robots, full-on robots, which was really impressive, and I really like Stan Winston's work on the T1s, as well as the design for the models for the T800, as well as the model for the TX, which was really, his work was always really impressive. As well as, I don't really like much of the movie because, it's mostly just a ripoff of Terminator 2, basically. Except for the last 20 to 25 minutes, because everything has been leading up to Judgment Day, and this time it can't be stopped. Which I thought was a really interesting idea. As far as negatives go, some of the performances, they can be, hit or miss. Nick Stahl, I thought, was a bit miscast as John Connor. I think it would have been a whole lot better if they had Edward Furlong back, but he was sadly unavailable due to his continuing drug problem. He doesn't really... Nick Stahl as John Connor, I think, doesn't really feel like he's, the prophesized leader of the human resistance. Because, he more or less acts more like an idiot sometimes when it comes to, certain different types of scenes. But there are times where his performance at times isn't really all that bad, because he becomes a fighter when he has to, especially when it comes to certain scenes with his future wife, Kate Brewster. As far as the TX goes, I like the design for the TX. Endoskeleton covered with the mimetic polyalloy. The thing is just that she barely has any lines in the movie, and she barely communicates with other people, and the thing is just that, she's nowhere near as intimidating or frightening as Robert Patrick was in Terminator 2, as well as Arnie when he was in the original Terminator. Just a tad bit of suspense with this character would have been a whole lot better. But I do like the design for the character, though. As far as Kristanna Loken's performance goes, she was okay. I mean, that's all I can give it. As for the rest of the movie, though, it's basically a almost shot-for-shot copy of Terminator 2. Because, I mean, when you watch it, I mean, we get two time-traveling robots, just go to some place, get some clothes, get some weapons. Okay, alright, we've seen that. And we get a chase scene. Okay, we've seen that. Another chase scene. Okay, we've seen that. I mean, you can clearly know the similarities, especially with Arnie getting glasses. I mean, getting sunglasses. And just, can we not have a movie that's a copy of Terminator 2? And if that's the case for Dark Fate, I mean, even though I do have, like, a bit of high hopes for Dark Fate, I seriously hope it doesn't end up being another copy of Terminator 2, because most of the other sequels, I thought, I mean, well, the other, I mean, I'd say the only good sequel other than Terminator 2 is Terminator Salvation. And in the case of T3, this is definitely a weak sequel, especially for a movie that has a high budget. It doesn't really, it kind of feels small at times, because while the film over-relies a bit on CG, and there are moments at times where you're watching, it feels like you're watching an expensive television movie, especially like near the end of the film where they get to the base, because it feels like it completely feels like they're in a TV set. It really does feel like that. I mean, that's what it feels like to me. Jonathan Mostow, I think, is a good, I mean, at least a decent director, because but I think that his work in this film, I honestly don't know what the hell he was thinking. For me, they should have just ended it with Terminator 2, but I don't know. Well, for a movie that's like, I mean, this is way overproduced. That's another negative that I can give this movie. And this came out 12 years after Terminator 2, and it's, like I said, it's just basically a carbon copy of the one movie that we all know and love. Yeah. And one of the biggest criticisms is so lazy is the off-screen death of Sarah Connor. Such an amazing character. I mean, they were originally going to have Linda Hamilton come back, but only in a small role, but she turned the part down. So instead of, like, having her in the movie, they just have her die from leukemia. That's weak. Such a weak ending for such a great character. And thank God that movie will be, I mean, this movie will be reconned, and we have Linda Hamilton back in Terminator Dark Fate. Everything else about the movie, I mean, it's a huge disappointment. Except for, like, a few decent scenes at the end. That's probably one of the biggest positives I can give this movie. So I'm gonna give Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines a D. So yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed it as a kid and you watching it as an adult, you'll find that it's very disappointing and everything. Next week I'll be covering Terminator Salvation, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. As well as I'll also be continuing season 2 of my annual Halloween special, so I'll be looking forward to doing more videos for that really soon. So yeah, there's a lot on my plate right now. So yeah, thank you so much as always for watching, and I'm looking forward to doing more reviews very soon, as well as continuing this collaboration, and it's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So yeah, thank you so much as always for watching and supporting my channel. I'm looking forward to more videos really soon. And if you want my thoughts on old or new movies, you know where to find me.